Hello. I'm going to tell you a story. The story of this cave and the island it sits within. It's a surprisingly big story. A story of continents tearing apart, ice ages, and the rise and fall of entire species. In order to tell you this story, we're going to need to time travel together. Sort of. When your mind wanders and you're thinking about the things you have to do later today, tomorrow, next week, or even the things you did yesterday, in a way, you're already time traveling into the future and the past. We're just going to go a little bit further than that. We're going to travel into deep time. Approximately 500 million years into the past. It's easy. Trust me. Just blink your eyes when I say go. Okay? 1, 2, 3, go. Is everyone okay? That was a big jump. We've moved deep into the past. This cave doesn't exist yet. This island doesn't exist yet. Human beings don't exist yet. The concept of time doesn't exist yet. Do you feel young yet? The basement rock of what is now called Kangaroo Island is being formed right now, 500 million years before you entered the cave. Can you feel it? Australia is currently one part of the megacontinent Gondwana, and we are experiencing what is called the Cambrian explosion, when all animal life lived underwater. This is the first time in the history of life that there were predators. Animals eating other animals. In response to this, some animals evolved shells. They pulled minerals out of the water they lived in to grow themselves shells, like their own private underwater caves. A defense against the hungry and the strong. Unfortunately, the predators evolved too. Shell-crushing predators the size of a lobster evolved that could rip through exoskeletons in search of the soft meat within. These predators could have made fast work of a fleshy finger, but lucky for you, human beings were a long way off in the evolutionary chain. Now, we're going to jump again. The next part of the story happens about 475 million years later. So I'm going to need you to blink again when I say go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Beautifully done. So, why are we here? 66 million years before you entered the cave? Well, it'll happen any minute now. That was the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. The aftershock will reverberate around the planet for weeks, months even. A lump of space stone just completely redirected the course of life on this planet. We probably wouldn't be here without it. Millions of years continue to pass. The climate oscillating between freezing ice ages and warm periods full of life. Every time the world is warm and the ocean temperate, billions of small sea creatures are born into the water that borders the land you're on. These animals have small shells, thanks to their early ancestors. And when they die, their shells are carried by powerful currents to the coast, where they grind down into a fine, white sand. This sand is then blown into the vast inland dunes that remain in constant motion for a long time, shifted by the wind again and again. Can you picture them? It's almost as if they're dancing. Time has sped forward, and we've arrived in the age of megafauna. A giant species of kangaroo lives on the island that will one day be Kangaroo Island. They're twice as large as the modern ones, weighing in at 220 kilograms. Can you imagine them? It's about now, about 2 million years before you entered the cave, that the sand dunes stop moving and petrify into stone. The stone you're looking at. The stone these very caves are made of. Kangaroo Island is not yet an island, and Kerry Hill Caves are not yet caves, but the limestone that became this place has just come into existence. Brilliant. Time keeps passing, and water seeps into the limestone, forming dark underground lagoons. When the water empties, the limestone becomes unstable, no longer supported by anything at all. The roof collapses again and again over a long period of time, and a cavernous space opens up deep underground. Finally, these caves exist. And aren't they magnificent? The last glacial period begins approximately 115,000 years before you entered the cave. One of many such periods within the larger ice age. Australia is cold and dry. In exciting news, human beings finally exist. At some point, they come to live on the landmass we now call their home, and their living culture continues. Eventually, the glacial period ends. The ice melts and the sea level rises. This creates the backstairs passage, separating this part of the land and turning it into an island. That's right. About 11,000 years before you entered the cave, Kangaroo Island finally exists. However, as the body of water separating it from the mainland becomes wider and wider, the island becomes unreachable to its traditional owners, and therefore is no longer inhabited. All the while, deep underground in these newly formed caves, water is dripping down from the surface. The percolates through the rock and ever so slowly builds up the long stone shapes that surround you, like cave teeth. Stalagmites and stalactites emerge from the rock wall in patient layers. What do they look like to you? European people come to know of this place when a horse named Kelly is swallowed whole by the earth and never seen again. People become curious and start to explore. They make their way down here, guided only by candlelight. Speaking of, I need you to click your fingers for me when I say go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Premature clicking.
Guilty.
So, these explorers squeeze and stumble their way deeper and deeper into this strange cave world, entranced by its beauty. They describe stalactites of amber, chocolate, yellow, crystal, cream, white, brown, and blood red. Patches of scarlet on the walls and floor that look as though an animal has been killed there. In other places, they say it looks as though the floor was covered with candied honey, piled high and gleaming silvery grey in the candlelight. But they forget that when their candles go out, they will have no way out of the cave. And suddenly, they're lost. They search for a way out as their candles burn down until the last moment, when they finally find their way and stumble back out into the light. Ready to click your fingers again when I say go?
Let's try it again.
1, 2, 3, go.
Well done, guys.
Time keeps rushing on, and any second now we'll hit the modern day, and this story will end. You'll walk back up the steps to the outside world, the bright light of day hitting your face. You'll walk back to your car and drive away. You'll go home, moving onward into a future full of surprise and possibility. But maybe one day you'll pause. You'll notice a sand dune or shell, and your mind will be pulled back to this place. Quiet, ancient, deep underground, where time is not measured in days or weeks or even years, but in epochs. Where stories take 500 million years to unfold. They happen in deep time, and they're still being told. Who knows what it will become in the future? Here we go. The present moment approaches in 1, 2, 3.
Oh, welcome back.